good morning, good morning from Uganda. Actually, I'm a far ways from Uganda. From Uganda. Actually, I'm really not. Uganda has been discovered, and of all places, not Idaho. Was it Idaho? Iowa. Yeah, Iowa. I was coming through Iowa, and on my way up, and got off to I don't know, use the restroom or something. Pulled over at the side of the road as I came off of the exit, and there was a sign for Wakanda, 15 miles to the left. Go figure. Wakanda in all places, Iowa. So, ladies and gentlemen, saints and aids, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, we've cracked the code and found Wakanda. And I'm going to make a special trip to go back to Wakanda and do a live video straight from Wakanda. Not today, not on this trip, but another trip. Well, it is official. I have 3 states left to collect to complete my 48 states, and that is Milwaukee, North Dakota, and I think Wisconsin. Those three. I'll do those on another trip. We'll get up and get out, and just for the purpose of grabbing those 3 states, we might even wait until next year when we go to the Sturgis event and just grab those while we're heading up that way. Who knows? This trip, this time around, was really not about collecting states, even though I knew I would collect a portion of the ones that I had left to get. So let me do this thing right and say good morning to everybody, including Lottie Dottie. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. All right. Now, let me just see if I can set something up here. No fancy thrills or nothing. Whoa. I was going to try to bring in another camera view, but I might be doing too much on the road to try to give you guys all of that fancy stuff. Know what I mean? So I want to talk about this whole ground pounding situation. Um, I don't know. We got any ground pounders out there? Y'all holler at your boy if you are a ground pounder. We certainly would like to acknowledge you. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. First of all, can you guys hear me? Is it like a whole lot of wind noise, or can you guys hear me? It's your boy Retro with you on today. Let me know what we are working with. Love to see that sunrise. Thanks for this live. Well, you are so welcome, Stardust Steve. Yeah, Stardust Steve. I might have mispronounced it. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for tuning in and pressing play, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts. She's watching from YouTube. Thank you so much. If you are just now tuning in, you're watching the Retro Philosophy Show. Normally, we go live from the studio Monday through Friday with a word of inspiration and all that good stuff. But as many of you know, we have launched out to do this miracle tour in conjunction with the Three Flags Classic. And so we've been on the road for almost a week. Well, yeah, a week and a half, going on 2 weeks. Sunday will make 2 weeks. And I plan to be home sometime next week. Uh, but what was I saying? Ground pounder. So if you are a ground pounder, make some noise in the comment section. Let me see who you are. And another thing I would like to do, I would love it if you would share what your definition of a ground pounder is. Now, I'm afraid that many of people have many different ideas, definitions, and or explanations as to what a ground pounder really is. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm just here to share a little of my insight or my thought or my philosophy on this ground pounding stuff. Now, let's jump right into it. Everybody on a motorcycle ain't a ground pounder. I'm just trying to tell you. Now, there are some people who are avid motorcycle riders, but that doesn't make them a ground pounder. Now, just because, and I'm not here to make anyone feel less than or anything like that. I'm not even up here to say I'm a ground pounder. But hear me out. Just because one gets 2 weeks off from work, saved up the I think it was Wow Hall. Those brothers were not ground pounders. They had motorcycles. They had an enthusiasm for motorcycling. They had a pull for the road. They had all that stuff, but that doesn't make them a ground pounder. And I'm gonna say this, and you may or may not agree. Either it's in you or it ain't. I mean, it's either in you or it ain't. Now, I do believe that one could evolve into a greater or a better ground pounder, but it's either in you or it ain't. I'm just saying. You can go out there and you can watch all the ground pounders videos. You can do all the research and the study, et cetera, and you can learn the techniques of a ground pounder. But just because you learn the techniques of a ground pounder doesn't make you a ground pounder. Okay? Now, you go, you take your trip, you take your vacation time, and you get out there and you do the doggone thing. But it's more like, can I use the word anomaly? Probably not. It's more like in other words, blessing C1s, ladies and gentlemen, saints and nates, everybody, including Lada Dottie, make some noise. The one and only C1s in the building. Beautiful sunrise indeed. And I am getting started much later than I anticipated once again. Late, but great start, nonetheless. And I do believe that everything is happening as it is supposed to as it relates to this trip from start to finish. The timing has been impeccable because it is not my timing, it is God's timing. And so I will not complain. C1s, can you hear me loud and clear, brother? Is there any echoing or anything like that? Hopefully not. Um, so we can get out there, we can study all the greatest ground pounders. And this week, I've rode with some of the best. I do believe that I can say that. It was an all-star cast. It was an honor to ride with such great ground pounders and legends in their own right. And these gentlemen will go down in motorcycling history, no doubt about it. But just because you rub shoulders with them doesn't necessarily make you one of them. And I think we got to understand that. Now, I do believe that we can study their techniques. We can do this and we can do that. And yes, hear you loud and clear. Okay, perfectly. Thank you. And you can become disciplined in the actions of a ground pounder, but that don't mean you are one. See, they're in your name. So you go and you do your 2 week trip. You know, as one once said, you're hanging out with the big dogs. That don't make you a big dog. It doesn't mean you won't one day be a big dog. I mean, time will tell. But let me make this point and move on. You really don't impress me the first time you do it. what really impresses me is your ability to sustain such behavior, such discipline, such whatever, you know? Because here's what I say. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? No, really. You put a clock on the wall and it says 12 o'clock, right? At 12 a.m., excuse me, at 12 p.m. noon, that clock is right. And at 12 midnight, that clock is right. So even a broken clock is right twice a day. And so we can sometimes fool around, mess around, and get it right. But my question and concern is, can you maintain such actions, such behavior, et cetera, et cetera? All right? That's when it becomes impressive. When you can do the same thing over and over and over, okay? Not just because it's in you, but also because you've learned and you've honed, you've perfected your skill and or your craft. See, there are some people that are gifted and are talented, but they won't master what they're talented at. And when you master what you're talented at or with, you become more effective, you become more effective, and you also become infective. I stole that from Pastor Eric Hightower many years ago. He broke that thing down, and I stole it. So I'm not the originator of the affect, infect, and effect. Yeah. So, but nevertheless, okay. So you might be gifted at whatever it is that you do, but are you mastering it? All right. Case in point, you have a talented singer, and they get up and they can sing, and they sing good. It's just they've got a beautiful voice. But when they've mastered their craft, now we're starting to talk about song selection, key selection, timing, ad libbing, and so much more to enhance your already gifted ability. And so, how do we relate that to ground pounding? Well, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can do it. A ground pounder is one that has it in them to get up and go, state to state, cross country, et cetera, et cetera. They can just get up and they can go. They don't need a 3-week planning session. Not that that wouldn't be bad. I mean, it doesn't hurt to plan. But some people can only do certain things if they have X amount of time to plan and prepare and to be ready. But a ground pounder, at the drop of a dime, they get a call from their homie over in Maine, and they're over in California. It says, bro, I need you here, bro. I need you here. X, Y, Z is going on, whatever. Yo, I'm on the way. All right, cool. I'm going to cash out you a little bit of gas money to help out with the trip. Say less. And that ground pounder get up and go. He ain't got to, necessarily get 3 weeks of rest and, mind preparation and, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Now that ground pounder going to get up and he going to make it go. He going to make it shake. And so there are people that can get up and go across country, but they can't do it at the drop of a dime. They got to really go into the secret closet and mentally prepare, and the stars have to align, and they have to wait till the moon is at the right height, and then boom, they go and they do it. And then they say, yeah, I'm a ground pounder. No, you ain't. You just planned and prepared. And if you go back, y'all thought I was going to put no Bible in this? You must be crazy. We got to put a little Bible in here somewhere. Wouldn't be the Russian philosophy show if I did. If you go back to the Old Testament, to work. And as a result, they were trying to circumvent God. I'm referring to the Tower of Babel. They were trying to build a tower to the heavens. And God literally had to come down and confuse their language to prevent them from doing what they had put their mind to do. So you can put your mind to do something and you can do it. But that doesn't make you what you put your mind to do, if that makes sense. Okay, all right. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's talk about some good, and you guys share some good ground pounding levels to this. Some have PhDs. Some are, ooh, I like that. I love that, C1. Y'all make some noise for C1. He said there's levels to this ground pounding. Some have PhDs and some are in middle school. Oh, I love that one, C1. That's a good one right there. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and aides, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, y'all make some noise for my homie, Mr. 50 Grand, middle school 50 Grand, C1. He said he's a middle school ground pounder. Hey, you got to start somewhere, all right? Greatness did not begin as great, all right? Well, actually, it did because great is the root word for greatness. So, but you understand the point that I'm making, right? Okay, all right. You got to start somewhere. The Bible. Let's go talk about the Bible. The Bible says, "Despise not small beginnings." I had somebody. They didn't say it to my face, but they called me a one-hit wonder, and I said, "That's okay. I hit it so good, I left them wondering." Yeah. So I'll take that. Yeah. All I need is one time. I'll hit it and leave you wondering. My goodness, how'd he do that? My goodness. Let me stop. Let me stop. So say what you want, but despise not small beginnings. That beautiful sunset. Well, sunrise anyway. I am in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. And as a matter of fact, I should have took a picture of it because the gas station that I was at, wild dogs. And then underneath it, it says, "You are nowhere." That's what it said on the building. You are nowhere. So I'm in the middle of You Are Nowhere, Nebraska. And, but the sunrise is beautiful. It is 62 degrees, and I believe it's going to rise to low 70s on today as I make my way through this part of the country, heading to Massachusetts by way of Detroit. Yeah, I'm going to stop in Detroit for a hot minute. So let's talk about this stuff. So C1's made an excellent point. There are levels to this thing, and that is so true. You can be on your way to receive your doctorate. I'm going to be interviewing an individual, have them as a guest on the show. And when we were trying to set up the date and time, he says, "Let's wait until I finish with my program." At the time, he was in his doctoral program. And he wanted to wait for a few reasons, all understandable. And so I use that as an example. You are in the program. You are on course to become, but you are not what you are becoming until you become what you are becoming. Y'all, I'm preaching better than y'all praising. I'm just saying. And so, just because you are on your way to becoming whatever it is that you are becoming, let me just say it this way: you should be humble in the process because you ain't there yet. Now, there are levels to this thing called ground pounding, and it all looks good when you see the ground pounder in Minnesota, and then you see him in Nebraska, then you see him in the Key West, then you see him in Ohio. I mean, you see him all over the world. Every time you turn around, he's in a different part of the country, and you be like, "Wow." What about the bad and the ugly that goes along with that too? Even if one is a ground pounder, there's still the fatigue that their body has to go through and deal with. I joke with K Solo and I say he has no belly button because he's not human. But the reality is, every one of us are human, and we may be disciplined. One may be disciplined at what they do, but that doesn't mean when they get home they don't have to ice their feet. That doesn't mean when they get home they don't have to go see the masseuse to, crack their back or to, work those muscles because they're, spasming and this, that, and the other. So be careful how you jump off the couch or how you jump off the porch to try to do what you see someone else do when you really are not sure what's all entailed. Ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, let's make some noise for Richard Blackwell in the morning. In the building. He says, "Good morning, my brother and sisters." Brother, love you. Love is in the house. Jesus loves you, and I love you. I'm so glad to know that Jesus loves me and Richard loves me. That's what it's all about. That made my morning, brother. I just want to be loved. I think everybody should desire to be loved. And if one desires to be loved, then one must be willing to love. I think it was Biggie Smalls that said, "Spread love is the Brooklyn way." All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there are levels to this thing. Um, and so I've been out here pounding the ground. But just because I'm out here pounding the ground doesn't make me a ground pounder. All right, I'll leave it alone. Now, I've been riding through the night, and the last couple nights, I think the first few days, because it took me about 3 days to get to Canada from North Carolina. I went up through, Missouri and all that stuff, and Sturgis, and went into Washington, up and through Spokane, and then crossed the border in some little backcountry town, and went on over to where my destination was. Um, and so there was a lot of adrenaline. There was a lot of, excitement and even the unknown because many of those states that I traveled to get to Canada were my first time going through those states. And of course, my first time riding in Canada. So a lot of that was new and it was exciting. And I think that in and of itself uh, allowed me a level of adrenaline, if you will. Yes, sir, Richard. We out here collecting miles and smiles, brother, miles and smiles. And so I did really well on my way up. I ain't doing too bad on my way back, but on my way up, I was riding. I was on top of hours. I rode up to Kentucky. It might not have been. No, it wasn't Kentucky. I was further. It was, might have been somewhere. I don't know. Camped out there at a truck stop, um, uh, and so it was probably somewhere around midnight, 11, 12 o'clock. Set up camp and got me some sleep and got up before the sun got up and continued my journey because I was pressed for time and didn't want to miss the deadline to check in. But on my way back from Mexico, it's a little different. It's been a little different. Number one, I already rode, about 6,000 miles total from my house to Canada, then from Canada to Tijuana, and all the riding we did in between. I had already clocked, matter of fact, I had already clocked over 5,000 miles because it was a little bit over three to get to Canada, and then from Canada to Tijuana, I think it was like another 25. So I was a little bit over 5,000 miles I had already rode. And so, point being, last night and the night before, um, I I checked out at about 10 o'clock the night before. Um, got a good hotel, got some sleep, and was supposed to get up before the sun did. But my body said otherwise. I didn't realize how tired I was, so I didn't get on the road till about 9 o'clock. We turned around last night, and pretty much more of the same. I checked out last night about 11 o'clock, 11:30. By the time I got in my room, it was about almost midnight. And same thing, I'd get up before the sun and continue on my journey. And 8:30, I jump up. It's like, oh snap, the sun is already up. Tired. Looked in the mirror, and I'm like, yeah, bro, you need some rest. It's a few miles. TD 205. Let's make some noise for Terrence Darling in the building. TD 205. If you have not subscribed to his YouTube channel, what you waiting for? Go on over there and subscribe to his channel, man. He's got some good content. He's a good dude. So, again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You might see somebody out here pounding and collecting miles and smiles, but they're also collecting fatigue because the body, contrary to popular beliefs, is not a machine. It needs rest. Now, granted, there are some who are accustomed to operating on less rest, but nevertheless, that body needs rest. And eventually, sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. All right? Sooner or later, eventually, it'll catch up with you. So, um, and again, for some, it may just be a situation. Tim Adams, what's going on? How you doing? Thank you for pressing play. Uh, Ronan Mosley, I am currently in, what state am I in, guys? Colorado? No, I'm not in Colorado. I'm in Nebraska. I'm in Nebraska, heading toward Illinois. Excuse me, headed toward Michigan. I will be going through Illinois as well. But let's see. Um, but the body needs rest. Okay, so you don't need to get it. And what some of us do is we get accustomed to operating on less sleep than others, and we just keep going, wash, rinse, and repeat. But even that, even still, it catches up to you sooner or later. And there comes a time when you just got to, all right? So right now, physically, I'm feeling pretty good. I got a little fatigue in my shoulders. That's because I told y'all when I was in Mount Hood National Forest, I hit a bump that almost catapulted me off my bike. And all I could do was hold on to my bars. And as I came down, bam, I hit hard. And I fell back like that. And the bars, they came back about an inch or so. And I haven't adjusted them back up. And so I put these bars on before this ride so that I can get my hands up because my other bars were a little bit too short and they were causing, fatigue in my shoulders. And now once I hit that bump, it pulled these bars back almost to the same position that my old bars had me in to begin with. So once I get to Massachusetts, I'm going to spend a couple of days there and I'll handle it then. I'll take care of it then. Unfortunately, I just got to deal with it until I get there. I could do it at my next stop. I have my tools and everything, but I don't want to mess with it uh, right now. So anyway, so overall, I feel pretty good, and but it starts to hit me in the wee hours of the night. So last night, I'm riding, and I know that I've got to try to make time, and so I didn't really want to stop where I stopped at in Nebraska. But I'll also have my pit crew, my beautiful wife, doing a little recon for me. And if I wouldn't have stopped where I stopped, let's say a few hours later, I said, okay, I can't go no further. I'd have been in the middle of nowhere and wouldn't have had the options that I had at the time that I did stop. So all those things are important. You got to take those things into consideration. And these are things that a ground pounder would understand. And again, I'm not here saying that I am a ground pounder, but just because you got the time off and you got the money and you got the motorcycle and you go take this big excursion of a trip, there's a lot of things that you need to know and even understand from your house to your destination and back to your house. Um, and some of that stuff is going to come through trial and error. Some of this stuff that you need to know, you're not going to learn by looking at somebody else's channel or watching somebody else's journey. Now, it might point you in the right direction, but there are some things that are going to happen or that are going to come up that you are just not really able to prepare for, or maybe I should say plan for. Um, but if you do things in a certain way, when the unexpected comes up, it won't catch you off guard. So it wasn't expected, it wasn't planned, but at the same time, it didn't catch you off guard because you already understand what happens on the road. Some people, in my humble opinion, will never be a ground pounder because They're too much of a control freak. And let me tell you, Mother Nature is undefeated. Okay, and if you think that the only way to New York is 95, well, what if 95 has a catastrophic accident and the whole 95 is shut down? What if it's a storm and it's flooded? You're gonna have to figure out how to reroute. Depending on where you are, what route you may have to take to go around that particular interstate and take another interstate to get to where you're trying to get to. And so, so the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is there's so much to see in God's beautiful country. You're gonna have to go through Iowa to get. Yeah, yeah, I will go through Iowa, and I may stop. I really, Ronan, enjoyed my stay in Iowa. On my way up to Canada, I literally broke down in Iowa, and it was the most pleasant breakdown I've ever experienced. The people that I encountered in Iowa were beautiful people. I mean, it was really, the hospitality that I received, and then I called the Harley Davidson dealership. What's that dealership up there, Ronan? Uh, Los Hills, Harley Davidson, I think it is. When I tell you top notch, bruh, I called them the next day because I broke down on I think it was that Tuesday, and they were already closed. Yeah, they were already closed. It happened around 6 p.m. and they were already closed. So I get them on the phone the next day, service department. We don't have anybody that can come get you, sir. Sorry, we don't have a driver or anything. So man, I'm traveling through. I got a deadline. I got to be in Canada by such and such a date. And anyway, you guys can help me. He says, you have AAA? Maybe we can call you a tow service or whatever. I said, man, I don't know anybody around here. Hold on. Comes back on the phone, says, hey, look here. We're going to come get you. Where you at? I tell him, he said, our service manager is going to come get you himself. I said, oh, nice. I'll be in the lobby waiting. Sure enough, they pulled up. I'd already had my stuff packed and ready to go. So hop in the truck, talk with the service manager, tell him what happened to the bike, what it sounded like. Ronan says, I'm in New York. That's what's up. I'll be sliding through New York as well, upstate New York, on my way to Massachusetts, and then through New York City on my way back home, because more than likely I'll be taking 95 south to get back to North Carolina. So I'm talking to the service manager, a really nice guy. We're going over what happened with the bike, trying to figure out what it may or may not be. We get to the dealership. They roll my bike off the tow truck straight into the service area and started working on it right away and had me out of there before the end of the day. They went above and beyond. So as I pass through Iowa, more than likely I'm going to stop at the dealership, depending on what time it is that I get there, just to tell them hello and share with them the progress of my trip. Because I was sharing with them that we were going to Canada and then, all the stops we were going to be, making. And it wasn't in my plan to come back this way, headed to Massachusetts. I was supposed to take the I-10 all the way to Florida, then straight up 95, all the way up to Massachusetts. But time was of the essence. I had to try to shave time. And so out of California, which I made a stop, it's a 15 to the, what did I take, 15 to the 76 or something? 15 to the 70 to the 76 to the 80. But anyway, so that's what we did, which is why now we are coming back to, we'll go back to Iowa. But anyway, it's all good. But the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is you get to see so much of God's beautiful country out here pounding this ground, making it do what it do. You guys share with me. Oh, you are in upstate. Okay, that's what's up. What do you consider to be the good, the bad, and the ugly of ground pounding? You know, because sometimes all we post is the good stuff, and when things go bad, we don't want to share that because we're afraid we might look stupid or we might look ill informed or whatever the case may be. But look here, bro, sis, it all comes with the territory. All of it is part of our making, you know. I used to tell my kids all the time, and life is it's not always about knowing what to do, but also knowing what not to do. And sometimes those are our most valuable lessons, learning what not to do. Some people pride themselves in knowing what to do, uh, but I'm a little different. Knowing what not to do can be priceless. Okay, uh, so it can save your life in many ways. So the bad, you know, the breakdown, the repairs, you know, and some of those breakdowns and repairs, there's nothing you can do to prevent because some stuff just because of wear and tear is gonna break. I mean, that's why they call it wear and tear. You can perfectly maintain your bike, but wear and tear is wear and tear. You know, you look at a person and they get X amount of miles a year. See, you might hear, you know, 90,000 miles a year. You know, but I'm hearing cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching in terms of the cost of all the tires that had to be replaced within those 90,000 miles, which is one of the reasons why I've gone dark side. Yeah. For those of you who do not know, when someone says dark side as it relates to motorcycles, they're referring to a car tire on a motorcycle. And so on my 2019 Road Glide Special, Ruby Red, she's sporting a rear tire that is a car tire. Okay? It is a fraction of the cost and it lasts at least 3 times as long as a traditional motorcycle tire. I probably got almost 20,000 miles on this tire already. Almost. Um, Let me say 15 to be safe. Because I put about 10 on it before this trip. And I put, oh, snap. I'm already 7,000 miles into this trip. Wow. Okay, so I got almost 20,000 miles on this rear tire. I put that thing on this bike, and right away I went to burning it up. Not burning it up as in burnouts, but hitting the road on that thing. And so, and that's because of the cost of getting yonder. You know, look at it, man. It costs money to cross these state lines. Real talk. So I don't know if that's the bad or if that's the ugly. I'm not sure, but it ain't for everybody. Yeah, it ain't for everybody. Out here on this road from sun up to sundown, trying to get to your destination. And I get it. It's very therapeutic, and for some it is their therapy. And and they can do it all day, every day. I don't know if I could do it all day, every day. I could do it a lot of days for a long time, but all day, every day, man, look at here. Last night I probably stopped about 2 times at least, just to get off the bike. Yeah, just to get off the bike. Look here, I'm not going to tell you uh, it does cost money. Yeah, it costs money to cross state lines, bro. Gas and maintenance and food and room and board. I'm not going to be the one to tell you. I got on my bike, in this case at 9 o'clock in the morning, didn't get off till 12 o'clock midnight. No, sir. Chances are I'm gonna stop. get off the bike. I don't do quick gas station stops. Some people pride themselves. I'm going over this shaky highway, guys, so it's kind of, but they pride themselves uh, in the fact that they pull up to the gas station. They never get off their bike. They never take off their helmet. You know, they pay at the pump. They pump and they go in and out less than 4 minutes. That ain't me, bro. And if that's the way you ride, don't invite me on your ride because I don't gas and go like that. You know, I got to get off my bike. You know, a lot of times I go inside and pay. You know, and I'm not gonna spend all day at the gas station, but good lord. And then yesterday I was riding in, I was coming through colorful Colorado, and I saw the Harley sign. And I'm not really one to stop off at a bunch of Harley Davidsons when I travel. Some people got to hit every single dealership along their route, and that's not my way of doing it. But I'm coming through Colorado, and I saw the Harley Davidson sign, and I saw they had a bunch of tents up. So obviously they had some kind of festivities going on. So I said, you know what? Let's go in there and kill some time. It was hot too. I'd go in there and soak up some of their AC and see, look at some bikes and see if I can find a deal or two. Not on a bike, but on some merchandise. And so I stopped. I probably wasted about 20, 30 minutes. You know, I really didn't have that to waste, but hey, it is what it is. Some people want to give you a certain perception that's not really a reality. And I kind of pride myself in a level of transparency because I ain't telling you everything. I mean, it just is what it is. You can't tell everybody everything. But I do believe, okay, I'll put it this way. I believe in transparency, but not secrecy. Okay, so nothing I do per se is a secret. But there is some things that I can't tell you. We'll put it that way. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you ain't supposed to. But on here on the Reggie Philosophy Show, you know, transparency is part of my authenticity. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it a buck with you all day. All right, and I do what I do, but that doesn't mean it doesn't get to me. And so sometimes I'll just get off the bike, walk around. Last night I stopped. Uh, I saw Walmart. I said, okay, I got to get some things anyway. So I went into Walmart. Uh, Probably bought a couple of things I shouldn't have, and got back out, and said, okay, let's make it shake. You'd be surprised how that little 5 minute walk around how it can rejuvenate you. You know, so it's not that you wasted 5 minutes; you invested 5 minutes that allowed you another 3, 4 hours. So invest your time wisely. Yep. That little 15-minute powwow nap you took at the rest stop was not 15 minutes wasted. It was 15 minutes invested in your journey. And now that 15 minutes has now afforded you another 4 hours. Okay? Whereas you said, well, I'm already behind time. I can't waste another 15 minutes. And you stay on the bike trying to press your way and mess around and fall asleep behind the handlebars, or you're over there dozing or drifting, and something crazy happens that costs you the rest of your trip. So somebody ought to catch that right there. Invest your time wisely because it could afford you a whole lot more in the long run. So, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, ground pounding, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It ain't for everybody, and everybody ain't a ground pounder. All right? But there are some of y'all out there that showed up ground pounders. Hats off to you. And if you're a weekend rider, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, be the greatest weekend rider you can be. You know, like C1 said, there's levels to this thing. Some have their PhDs and others are in middle school. And you know what? True story. You can shine even in middle school. You do so well in middle school, they put you in the program called Rising Stars. Yeah. They're saying he's a candidate for great XYZ. I can tell by the way he handles the middle school level. He's going to be a great high schooler, you know. So don't underestimate where you are right now. It's part of your journey, it's part of your making. Thank you there, C1s. Put it in your back pocket and use it whenever necessary, sir. It's all yours now. And let me say that. Shout out to the one and only Kodak, the ground pounder. Uh, we were in a conversation at one particular time, and he said, an OG is one that offers guidance. You ain't a ground pounder if you don't have the wherewithal to help someone else be a ground pounder. So in other words, if you're out there and you're doing your thing, you're a ground pounder, you ought to be able to give somebody the cheat code. You ought to be able to put somebody on game. Why? Because you know it, because you do it. And because you do it, you can articulate it. Some people, they take the miles that they do and they use it as a badge of honor. They use it as bragging rights. They use it to make others feel insignificant. I know this one joker, he was just disgusting. Always walking around his 5'6" self, walking around talking about, chest all puffed out and everything, talking about he a ground pounder and how he ride here and there and everything and trying to make others feel bad because they don't ride the way he rides and the places that he rode. Well, he only rode the places he rode so that others could see him. He only did that so he could be seen, so that he could be a somebody because of what he did. I don't want to be a somebody because of what I do. I want to be a somebody because of who I am. Should I say it for those in the back one more time? I don't want to be a somebody because of what I do. I want to be a somebody because of who I am. Let me tell you this. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. It's not about what you do. It's about who you are. Yeah, facts. And so if you are a ground pounder and you've never educated someone else, you've never mentored someone else, then you might not have your PhD yet, as C1s would put it. You might be you might be in high school, but you ain't on that PhD level yet. Let me say this. I say it all the time. Leaders lead. Good leaders inspire. Great leaders attract other leaders, but exceptional leaders know when to step aside. And when I say exceptional leaders know when to step aside, especially in this regard, I'm talking about to allow those they have already poured into to come into their own. And sometimes you have to give them the reins and see what they do with it. Sometimes you got to step aside and say, all right, Grasshopper, you got this. Let me see what you're doing. Let me see what you're working with. Let me see if you was paying attention. We was on this Three Flags Classic ride. Shout out to Reef and K Solo. Reef was leading it, I think, the first couple of days. And then he stepped aside and said, who lead it tomorrow? Yeah. And let them folks lead too. He wasn't constantly up there in their ear. Oh, you got to, nope. You got this, bro. You got this, sis. And that's how it's done. That's how it's done, folks. Now, if you out here just trying to be what you say you is, then it ain't going to work like that. Because you still got too much to prove to people who ain't even paying attention. So, but when you are what you are, you don't got to prove nothing to nobody. Whether you think I am or whether you think I'm not, it really doesn't matter. Because I know what I am. So, that's why shout out to my man Low Key. He always says safety over ego. And I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. That's that's number one. It's a good saying. Matter of fact, it's more than a saying. It's good advice because safety should always be more important than your ego. And an ego and ground pounding is a bad combination. Yeah, ego and motorcycle is a bad combination. Facts. So safety first and first safety. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'm gonna shut it down, folks. I want to thank you for pressing play, being a part of the broadcast on this morning, and hopefully your Friday is proven to be the start of a great weekend. I will not make my destination in the time that I had hoped, but I understand that's what's more important than making it there at the time I wanted to. It's just simply making it there safe. So my plan was really to ride through the night last night. Um, but again, if I get tired, I know better. I stop. So I stop where I stop versus pressing on and then having to stop uh, somewhere where there wasn't accommodations or anything. So, but it's all good. We had it again on this morning, and we will check in with you guys later on at some time. C1s, thank you, sir. Um, I really do plan on sliding through your area on my way back. The plan is to take that route. I got to stop there in Fayetteville anyway, deliver some patches to special delivery. How about that? I'm making a special delivery to Special Delivery Motorcycle Club. Those girls got out there with 7 of them, and they knocked out the 4 corners of North Carolina. Shout out to Mo Gaz of Soldiers United. He too jumped out there and knocked out the North Carolina 4 corners. Um, and so shout out to Cinnamon and Buster. They get ready to launch out and knock out the 4 corners of Virginia. So appreciate you guys for supporting the movement, Mission 448. I do apologize for not being able to accommodate you, being that I'm out here on the road, but I'm going to do the best that I can to do it while on the road. So, guys, he already knocked it out. Special Delivery, they knocked it out. But I also explained to them I was on the road and wouldn't be back to the office for a couple weeks. So we'll get those certificates sent out to them, get their patches hand delivered. Guys, I got yours as well. So when I slide through Fayetteville, I'll connect with you, bro, and get you that patch in your hand, all right? And you too, ladies and gentlemen, could ride the 4 corners of your state, should you desire. Let me see here. And we would love to accommodate you, all right? Woo! All right, guys, I'm going to make it do what it do. And as I make my way to my destination, I should be there sometime tomorrow morning. I sure want to get there today, though. But hey, again, some stuff you just can't control. You do the best you can and then deal with what you come up with. Check out my link right here on YouTube for Mission 448. Click it. It'll take you to the registration page, and you can choose which state you want to do the 4 corners of. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, reach out to me. My number is in the registration form. So, again, we'd love for you to support this movement. It's your boy Retro, signing off from somewhere in the middle of wherever it is that I is in Nebraska. Nebraska don't have much to show so far.